All right, welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute since I made a video, but I've been loving this project that we're going to be talking about today so much that it's inspired me to come back and talk about music. This is going to be a discussion more than like a rating of a project, because I don't really like to rate music. I just like to listen and talk about it. But I do not have the physical vinyl or CD or anything related to this project specifically, but I do have his previous work, which is right here. So if you can guess, this is his first album. It's Daniel Caesar, and we're talking about The Son of Spergy, which is his fourth project that he just came out with right now, or a couple weeks ago. So Daniel Caesar, obviously R&B singer, really popular, really huge. And I was introduced to him when Complex did like a video about him way back. I think like 2015. It was before that song with Cali came out. I think Pilgrim's Paradise was out, which is an EP by him before his debut album. And something that I remember from that is that it talked about how he grew up in a church in a suburb from Toronto, how that's how he learned to sing or really develop his voice. And if you know Daniel Caesar's music, you know that this fool was like, he's one of those few artists that sound exactly the same live, because I've seen him live, and on his music, which really shows how good of a singer you can be. And he just sounds very good. He sounds very grand and kind of orchestral. And you could tell, especially how he talked about in that video, he was really raised singing like church choir in a church. And if you heard that type of music, you know that they're very good singers, and they can really sing, and they sing long-winded notes. They sing very grand, like I said. And that relates to this project because, to my knowledge, from what I read, this is really his first project that touches, like, the whole theme of the project is very religious. It's very that was the word I was looking for, gospel. Grew up singing gospel. It's very gospel oriented. And he talked about when he's making this project that he was thinking of kind of folk music. And the Beatles really inspired him, that type of sound, and very gospel sound, which we'll be touching on later. But to go back to the gospel sound, the project is called The Son of Spergy. And so what he said is Spergy was the name of his nickname for his dad. And he worked in the church, and that's kind of grew up, and that's where he got his connection to the church and religion, through his father. And then the cover of the project is his dad. So, and I believe he is featured on the project as well. So you could see the influences there, and you could see how his father really inspired him to what he's become today, and especially this project. Now, the first listen, obviously, definitely got that gospel sound. And before I even read that, I definitely noticed the Beatles sound. I could hear it through some of the songs, especially some of the orchestral parts, some of the guitars that he used. It gave me very Beatles, kind of George Harrison, like his solo stuff type of vibe, which I really enjoy. And throughout, he called it also, he was thinking of a country. When he was writing it, he wanted to make a country song. That's what he had in mind. Personally, I didn't really get that vibe, especially off the first listen. So I did not see that personally, but I could see where he's coming from. But regardless, you definitely hear the folk in there. You can definitely hear the gospel in the Beatles. It's like a big melting pot. You mix this all together, that's what you get with this project. And I feel like when artists do gospel albums, religious albums, it can kind of turn off a viewer. It can kind of make you be like, no, I don't want to be hearing about this. I want to be hearing about just other stuff, a big variety of other stuff. But like, there's a certain connotation when someone's like, I'm a Christian artist. I just do about, or what's it called? My content is all about religion. And I feel like there's a fine line of where one half it kind of gets, not in a bad way, but it just gets very repetitive. And there's the other side where the artist makes it very interesting. And I feel like Daniel Caesar really made this very interesting. He made it very, it's not so pushed into your face, you know what I mean? So I feel like but still all the content, which we'll be going over, really is talking about his relationship with God and the church and all that. At least that's what I got from. So starting off the project, he goes the song "Rain Down," which features Sampha. Fantastic opener. It really sets the tone for the project. A lot of, like I said earlier, orchestral gospel sounds. Sampha, I think, was a great choice as a feature for the intro track, and just in general, I feel like their voices really meld together. And then it goes on to the first, or one of the singles, which is "Have a Baby with Me," which is, that's when I first heard the single. This is definitely what I thought it would have sounded like. This is what I was looking for when I heard this song. It's a very like that kind of Daniel Caesar sound, and I felt like it was a great single. It really showcased his voice. It really showcased another what the whole album was going to be about, especially because it was one of the singles. And just side note, I really like the aesthetic of the cover art that he did for the singles leading up to this album. I know some people said they didn't like the cover. I personally really liked it. I love the red in the back and just kind of the out of focus photo of his father. I feel like it kind of, I don't know if that was intentional or not. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like because this whole album is him finding, his refining his focus on life and relationship with his family and religion, I feel like that was a great album title. But that's sorry, I was getting off track. The next project is Baby Blue. And this song, the production of it was really good. I feel like this was the first song of what, to me, I like to listen to the production as well, obviously, but I really analyze it and really try to figure out what they use, what instruments and stuff. And I feel like you can have a regular song and that's cool. It sounds good. But I feel like when producers put in these cool little voxes or weird sounds kind of in the background throughout the track, it really elevates it. And it's a small detail that I always look for in music. And I'm really glad he put this throughout all the song. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the songs on this project. And this was the first one that was introduced at the beginning of this project. This is the first song where I heard those weird sounds and voxes playing throughout, and this like little experimental things which I really appreciate. And it was on this track. I think this was the first one to have it, so that was something I was really happy to hear. But yeah, it's a great song. How I interpreted it, it was his relationship talking to Jesus, and that's how I saw it. Who knows? But as a listener, that's how I interpreted it. Going on to the next one is "The Root of All Evil." This is one of my favorite tracks. Just sonically, it sounds amazing. The flow is really good. It's it's one of those songs I always related to the pumped up kick songs, where it's like it's a cool, kind of more upbeat sounding song. But then when you listen to the content and listen to what he's actually saying, it's kind of sad. And in this one, the title is "Root of All Evil." He's talking about the roots of all evil, kind of the evils in his life, or whoever the character that he's singing, I don't know if it's a character or himself, but whoever he's singing about, just talking about going over all the roots of evil, which is another tie-in to religion, obviously. But this is one of my favorite tracks, big highlight, and I just like this song all around. This is probably the first song where I just ran back straight to it. So following that is "Who Knows." It's it's a classic kind of Daniel Caesar sounding song. It's beautiful, but it's very drawn out, a sad vibe. And it's definitely one of those songs where you just stare at yourself in the mirror in the shower or whatever, and just looking off into space and have this playing in the background. This is definitely one of them. And how I interpret it is him reflecting on himself and his life, and so just a big self-reflection type of song. Following that is "Moon." This has Bon Iver on it, which is one of two tracks, and anything with Justin Vernon on it, it's gonna sound amazing. And this is no disappointment. It sounds great, especially with the next one we're gonna get to that he's on. But it sounds amazing. This one has this nice piano riff that goes all throughout the project. I meant the song, my fault. And it just sounds good, and they really deliver on this. It's a great collaboration. I feel like this is my favorite collaboration that he has on the project. And yes, and this is one of the singles that I think the third single that he released. So it was definitely a good tone setter. And following that is Touching God. This is a song I think Daniel Caesar was literally born to sing. His whole upbringing, his whole, just everything that he's learned, I feel like has been encapsulated into this one performance that he does on this song. It's so good. The title is self-explanatory. It's talking to God and his experience with religion, how I saw it. Following that is another highlight of mine is Sign of the Times. This is probably my favorite track. It's, what's the word? My interpretation of this is him maybe talking to a future child or someone talking to a baby. I feel like kind of correlates with the first one, especially Have a Baby with Me. So I feel like that's how I took it. I don't know if that's the real his intention. That's how I interpreted from the lyrics. Sorry, I'm rambling. And I think he's talking to God about it. He's like, oh, what should I do now that I have this child, when I have this baby? Help me out. Can you lead me? Can you guide me? And this also has a second half, which is a more upbeat kind of vibe to this song, which I really appreciate, because I think Daniel Caesar gets a lot of criticism that his music is kind of boring, it's kind of slow. And though I don't think that should be criticism, it is true. I feel like his maybe his last project was a little more slower, and his first project is also kind of slow. I personally like it, but it does kind of, what's it called? You put on music for a certain vibe, and I feel like that when it's a very slow song, you can only play it in so many different. It limits the settings that you can play it, if that makes sense. And I feel like something like Case Study 01 and this project really do well is that they have a more variety of emotion, more upbeat Daniel Caesar, more kind of less limiting. I can't find the word, but I feel like I'm hopefully getting my point across. And I feel like this more upbeat, I really appreciate when he kind of gets more energetic, uses his voice for more a variety of sounds. And this definitely showed on the second part of this track. The next one is Emily's song. Emily is a recurring character I find to be in all of his projects. He references the name Emily even in the singles. Like that one with Please Don't Lean on Me with Bad Bad Not Good. And this is, one of the songs I feel like only Daniel Caesar could sing, especially that first melody that he does. It's very good. It draws you in. And, I feel like this track had some of his greatest songwriting on it throughout on the project. It shows him still appreciating this person. I'm assuming appreciating Emily, but now that it's over between them, he's still, like, he acknowledges that it's over, but he appreciates what she's done for him. And it's a great song, and I encourage to read the lyrics to this song. Yeah, so the next one is No More Lovin'. It has his brother on the track. It's a very slow track. It's probably, not my favorite track, but it's still very good. But it's understanding that he's evolved as a person, especially from the top of the project. I feel like from the top to the bottom, you can see the evolution of Daniel from what he's saying. And I feel like this is one of them. This really solidifies that he's evolved as a person and he's more mature than he was at the start of the project. And the last one is called Sins of a Father. This is a highlight and a fantastic outro. Another one with Bon Iver. It's very orchestral, very grand. It's like a send-off, in my opinion. The last song they play at church when they send you off and outside and into the world. And I feel like this is a great outro. And in Daniel Caesar fashion, like the most of his projects, there's a second hidden track, a little pause between the first one and the second track, and he has that here. And this is where Justin Vernon comes in, and I feel like these fools just had like a harmonizing competition at the end. It sounds amazing, and it's just a great way to close out the project. So Now, after rambling about that, I really feel like this is one of my favorite Daniel Caesar projects that he's dropped. I have a kind of a controversial Daniel Caesar album ranking. Assuming this beats my other favorite, I would say probably go Son of Spergy, Case Study '01, his first project, and then Who Knows for his albums. But I really enjoyed that project. I hope to see it live. And if you haven't, please check it out. Don't let the boring and slow allegations turn you off from this album. Check it out, please. It's great. It's an amazing album, and when I can, I definitely will go buy the record. All right, thanks for tuning in. Sorry, it's my first video back. I rambled. This is all off. Most of it's off the dome, so I'll get better as time goes on. See you in the next one.